Morning, Sully.
Hey, what's happening, bud?
Long time no see, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
about 12 hours.
Yeah, about 12 hours. Yeah.
Are you now? It was about 40 degrees when I woke up this morning. Are you one of these pumpkin spice guys?
No.
You're not a pumpkin spice coffee guy?
Absolutely not.
Really? I would have pegged you for one of those guys.
No, I'm firm. I like pumpkin pie. I'm firm on pumpkin pie. I like pumpkin seeds. Big fan of pumpkin seeds.
Really? That's kind of weird.
Coffee's got to stay. I say dark roast, maybe an espresso. Let's just stick with the basics. Coffee's the one thing I don't believe in screwing it up. Even though everything else I can find a way to screw up, coffee's the one thing I don't even want to try.
McGarry was fired up. He must have had his 2 Diet Cokes before he came on.
Yeah, he was double fisting his Diet Coke. He was fired up, and man, like he mentioned to me last night, and to you, he's a tough act to follow. I mean, one of the best around. So, he's got stock in Diet Coke on Saturday morning. I know that.
Well, we had to take a little bit of time away from you this morning to appease your boy Minik. He's always giving me a hard time about McGarry cutting into his time.
Hey, you know what? That's okay. Let's just keep Kevin happy, and don't worry about me. Let's just keep Kevin happy.
Keep the big guy happy. We'll talk a little latte. We'll talk a little fashion. bring a little.
Right, man. We don't even need to talk about football.
Right?
Absolutely.
Oh man! So what's going on with you this weekend? Anything exciting?
I work today. I've got some things to do at the office. Figure out what all went down last night across the great region of South Jersey, and watch some football. I mean, Saturdays and Sundays in the fall are for watching football for me. So I always find it funny when the season starts, and I kind of think, well, what did I do with all my time before football season started? What was I watching? What was I doing? I should have written several books, but. Yeah, I'm going to be watching a whole lot of football and doing a little bit of work, too.
Well, I think you made the right choice last night. We were talking about that on the sideline. Who should get the hats off, your fedora? And Josh Zamat, man, what a game last night from this kid. He's really come along as a quarterback.
Well, Zamat was great, and to kind of paint the picture for the listeners out there, it comes down, the game was not close, but the hats off award was very close. I mean, we're neck and neck. And I'm thinking, I might have to give it to Ennis, because Zamat threw 2 touchdown passes in the first half, but one of them was to Ennis for 66 yards. And Ennis did most of the work, I think. So Ennis and Zamat go into halftime. I think Zamat's got a little bit of an edge. But then the first drive of the second half, Ennis picks off a ball and runs 85 yards for touchdown. So now Ennis has the edge. And I was kidding with Zamat's dad that, I think it's going to go to Ennis. Josh has really got to come through in the fourth quarter here. And so Zamat lines up. I mean, as you saw in the fourth quarter, which I didn't even know this till I spoke to him afterwards, there was a mix-up in the play call.
Oh, really?
So both receivers out wide ran the wrong route. Zamat didn't realize Dobbins was lined up behind him. He thought the formation, he was all alone in the backfield. And so he gets it and looks around and is like, this doesn't look familiar. Takes off 40 yards for a touchdown, clinches the hat, puts the running clock on, and everybody goes home happy, except Zeke Ennis, who is probably going to be a little bit more determined for the hat next time. So, I think the Hermits will be happy in the long run with that.
I should have let you borrow the Glory Days skull cap for Ennis.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was a close race. I don't think anybody there but me knew it. But man, how riveting for one person to stand there and observe it. Oh man.
Hey, speaking of hats, the Glory Days skullcaps getting a little love. Dean Collinich came out to me after the game and was like, "Yo, Sully, man, how do I get one of them hats?"
Yeah, well, I would like one too, Sully, because I'm a man of many hats, and I like as many hats as I can get. But
we'll get some made up this winter. Get a dozen or so. I'll put you on the list.
Yeah, for wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. It's starting to get colder out, so.
Yeah, and I don't have anything up top, so
yeah,
I
me
need the
neither, man. We need those skull caps.
Here's a great thing about last night. Is that we always talk about my salmon pants and my fashion, which I'm happy to own up to. As I said before, I'm sure it makes my mother proud that I look like I put myself together before I walked out the door. But people don't realize your beanie last night. I would call that a maroon, right, or a dark red.
It's like a scarlet red, yeah.
Yeah, it's a scarlet red. Well, people don't realize, including myself, you come out with the camera last night, and you're a man of many talents out there, Sully.
That's true.
That's true. And the camera's the same color as the hat. Now, intentional or not, and if I were you, I would take credit for it as being intentional. But that was, that was pretty spiffy, man. I'll say that. That was pretty spiffy. I was impressed.
I don't mess around. Hey, well, Glory Days, our official colors are pretty much 49ers, the Vegas gold and the scarlet red. So I like to try to match up. I like to try to match up as much as I can.
Okay. Was that done for the 49ers?
Not really. It was kind of, no, because when I first started the magazine, I was thinking about all the schools we were going to cover, and I said, well, I kind of need a color scheme that's not really specific to one school, because I didn't want people to think I was favoring, if I went with navy and gold, maybe people would say, oh, you're all about Holy Spirit or whatever. If I went with, green and black, they'd say, oh, you're a mainland guy. So I wanted to keep it as neutral as possible. So I tried to figure, okay, what color scheme is not really used by any of these schools?
Well, I remember that I can feel your plight, because when I first was working in this business, I worked the county that I grew up in. There were 3 schools. One of them was red and white, the other one was blue and red, and the other one was green and orange. And the publication I worked for, their colors were red and white. So they had these tennis jackets that we had. They were great jackets, real versatile. And it had the logo on the back, and you had to wear it wherever you went, to cover a game.
Oh, so when you'd go to the orange school, they'd be like, oh, why you at our school?
Yeah. And my response and this is a really great part about this complaining. Where's your blue and red jacket? Where's your green and orange jacket? Every time I told them, look, if you want to pony up the $50 to get one made that's in this color, I'll wear it. I don't care. Nobody followed through. Everybody wants to complain, but nobody wants to follow through.
Exactly. Let's talk a little football here before we get too sidetracked. Who's really?
We've gotten far. We're far past that point, but let's get some football in.
Let's bring it back on the range here. Obviously, we were both at that game last night. What else impressed you about St. Augustine? Obviously, they're one of the best teams in South Jersey, along with teams like Timber Creek and Camden Catholic. They've really separated. I think those 3 schools, maybe with a team like Lenape, has kind of separated themselves as the top 4 in South Jersey. What really impressed you about St. Augustine?
Well, I think the way you got to look at that, Sully, is what did not impress me about St. Augustine. This is the second time I've seen them, and outside of the one thing I'll nitpick them on is that they started a little bit slow. It happened against Williamstown, and it happened here last night against Holy Spirit, and I saw both games. Other than that, I don't know that there's any complaint. I don't know if there's anything I could say I'm not impressed by this. The quarterback's great. The quarterback plays poised. The quarterback missed some throws early on. And I know the interior of the line, sometimes he doesn't always have the space to step up, because there were a couple touchdowns left out there last night because he couldn't get rid of the ball. I think that kid has a way of putting the last play behind him, which is very impressive in high school football. If you miss guys or whatever, he knows he's going to have another opportunity. I really, really like Zamat. I think Dobbins at running back is fantastic. And then let's just go down the list. Collins, File, Ennis, Dades. They've got a ton of weapons. And that's not even going into the fact that, everybody talks about the offense. Well, the defense didn't give up anything last night. The one time Holy Spirit had a drive that even resembled anything that would end in points, Zeke Ennis put an end to that and took it the other way and scored. They're a machine right now. And in terms of South Jersey, I like what you said. I think you got Camden Catholic and Lenape are right there on the edge. But this is Timber Creek and St. Augustine. These two teams, they just seem to be on another level this year. I was very impressed all around by the Hermits.
And definitely impressive when you talk about Timber Creek for a team to be able to stay focused throughout the first 6 weeks of the season, considering all the stuff they had to go through in the preseason with all the controversy about players not necessarily being legitimately in the district and all that stuff. They've put all that behind them and said, hey, we're going to come out here and play great football. So hats off to them for being able to refocus as a team when you have that kind of thing hanging over you in the preseason.
Well, and, they don't even have a conclusion on that yet. I mean, the Camden County Prosecutor's Office dropped the investigation, but dropped it into the lap of the NJSIAA. So, there could still be, we don't know what's going to happen, basically is what I'm saying, and they block out that distraction anyway. You're right. Timber Creek, look, their team is so good that I think things can be a distraction when you're about the level of your opponent, or maybe a little bit better. I think things can maybe set you back. When you're Timber Creek, you're so much better than everybody, that you play. I think it only adds fuel to the fire. I really do. And in high school football, this isn't the NFL. Where teams are going to end up within a touchdown of each other. If you're genuinely that much better than the other team, a lot of times you're going to hammer them. And I think Timber Creek's done a fantastic job this year of blocking everything out because, you know what? Even if they can't block everything out, they're still better than everybody they play.
Talking about Mark Trible, the Courier-Post. Mark, real quick before we let you go, speaking of fashion, best uniforms in South Jersey, St. Augustine's got to be up there.
St. Augustine is a top 10 jersey in South Jersey.
And the helmet, that new logo they got, pretty sweet. Anybody even come close?
Yeah. I think so. I'm a personal for helmets. I always say Pemberton. They get the old school fighting Hornet, the forest green kind of on a white backdrop with the Hornet helmet stickers, classic all the way through. I really like Camden Catholic's uniforms as well. And RV's got a nice look with their helmet with the pitchfork in the middle of the RV, but and I always really liked, you talked about them earlier. Good for them; they're on a roll. I always really liked the fact that Millville with the orange and the blue. I think it hits. It's like the old Broncos.
Nice, good stuff, man. Appreciate you checking in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, buddy.
Thanks, Sully.
All right, that was Mark Trible, the Courier-Post.